All right, we are live.
Hey everybody, it's Ranger Ann from Myrtle Beach State Park down on the coast in South Carolina. We have Ranger AJ, who's our assistant manager. She will be filming today as well. And you might, I have a feeling you'll be hearing her interject here and there. So what we're gonna do today, as we get ready, you know, you've already learned from Stacy and Kat how to set up a tent. I've seen some cool tents out there on the Facebook page. I've seen somebody, you took your trampoline, made it into a fort. I've seen indoor tents, outdoor tents, forts inside your house. I love the creativity that everybody's doing, and so I hope you continue to have fun during this fun weekend. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about camping etiquette. Basically being a good neighbor while camping. Some of it might be common sense, some of it you might do already, but we also hope that you're going to learn a couple of things and go, oh, I could do that, and make your camping experience more enjoyable for you, safer for wildlife, and more enjoyable also for your camping neighbors. But the first thing, when you go to any campground, a lot of campgrounds, whether state, national, county, whatever it is, a lot of us, we have these bulletin boards or kiosks. We have great information, and it might be helpful for you to look at it. It's going to help you know what to do, maybe if there's some warnings, maybe if there's some issues, or just make it more enjoyable. Or, you know, when we're back and life is normal again, or whatever the new normal is going to be, maybe what programs are happening so that you can learn more about that park that you're visiting right there. So check out the kiosk. Check out, you know, if you got a map, you know, you can figure out what facilities the park has. Also the campground rules and regulations. And, you know, take advantage of the things that are provided to you. A lot of times, you know, when you check in after you've driven however many hours, I think what happens is you stick it down in the console of the car or whatever, and you kind of forget about it. But it really does have good information, so keep that in mind when you start your camping trip. Again, no matter what campground it is, because different campgrounds have different rules. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk on over to our campsite, and we're going to
Introduce yourself again and tell people where you're at.
I saw AJ's face.
We are still on.
Okay, we're still on.
Yeah.
So I'm Ranger Ann Wilson from Myrtle Beach State Park. We're down on the beach, coastal, not the beach today, but we're a coastal park here in South Carolina. Ranger AJ, who is our assistant manager. Most people call her Amanda. I call her AJ. She'll be filming today, so that's what we're doing. Any other issues yet or questions?
Nope, we're good.
All right, so we're going to walk on over to the campsite and talk about certain things. So come on over. So Myrtle Beach State Park, we have about 300 campsites. We're the largest campground in the South Carolina State Park system. And we have campsites that are just for tents. We have campsites that have sewer. We have, you know, water and electric hookup. So, you know, we have a lot of different sites depending on what you're looking for. So keep that in mind when you're booking a campsite. So one thing, before we get started, as we're walking on this campsite, one thing a lot of people do, unfortunately, is they will put screws or nails into trees, you know, because they want to hang things, clothesline, put up their tent, hammocks or whatever, but it's really not good for the tree. Rangers don't always have time to come get it out. There will be scars in it later on. So just be creative and figure out how to do setting up your gear without damaging a tree. Also, in this tree, we're really lucky. As old as this tree is, I really see very few scars, which is, to be honest with you, rare. A lot of the other campsites that we looked at before we got good service, you know, Wi-Fi service on this campsite, had so many scars and holes and hatchet marks from axes and things. So it's rare that we actually don't have a lot of scarring on this tree. And then also, we also get a lot of graffiti on trees. And you know, this was just a photo that we took a long time ago. But also keep in mind, graffiti on a tree is there forever. You're hurting the tree. You know, if you want to, you know, write a letter, write chalk on the pavement, go right in the sand or the dirt. But we don't want to put graffiti in a tree or anywhere in any park. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're gonna keep coming over here. So when you get to your campsite, depending on how big or small it is, and hopefully when you've reserved your campsite, you're going to know how big your campsite is. So you want to make sure you stay within the boundaries of the campsite. every time people go, well, I want to do that and go over there or go over here, and the campsite keeps expanding, that makes it really tough on the resource. So keep that in mind. If you need a big campsite because you're bringing everything in your house to your campsite, you're going to want a bigger campsite. Keep in mind, you know, when you go camping, you're supposed to get away from it all, not bring it all with you. So keep that in mind. And you know, the more stuff you bring, the more stuff you have to pack up, the more stuff you have to clean. Sometimes it's more work to clean up after a camping trip, and you're like, you know, you take away all the good vibes you got from camping. So I think minimal is best, but that is an opinion. So also keep in mind, especially when we have a big campground, again, we have 300 sites, this is your neighborhood. And we all seen those movies where they joke about the paper thin walls and they can hear whatever the people are doing next door. Well, we have air walls here. So you can hear everything that other campers are doing, and they can hear everything that you're doing. So again, indoor voices always, 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 always. So watch your voices, especially during quiet hours. All parks have quiet hours, and usually they last usually from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. But again, check those kiosks, check the rules and regulations to find out. And if it's 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. or to 7 a.m., really a better rule of thumb would go 9 to 8, so that, you know, people go to sleep, you know, earlier, or maybe just want to wake up a little later. Just, you know, keep it a little on the down low. So keep that in mind. Generators in South Carolina state parks are illegal because they create so much noise. And some other campgrounds you're allowed to use them. I have to say, I was tent camping in another park in another state, and I had 2 other campers with us in the whole campground. And it was in the middle of nowhere, beautiful stars, quiet, you could hear all the frogs and the wind and everything. And we had a camper in the campground, and they had a generator. And literally as soon as quiet hours ended, the generator went on. And when quiet hours started, the generator went off. And it wasn't the best experience because all we heard was a generator. So think about that. Do you need to watch that TV? Do you need to have those lights on? Could you do it in a different manner? I mean, look at this TV that we have right now, our big screen TV. This is a fine TV. And also maybe your neighbors don't want to watch your big screen TV from 3 campsites away.
It's true.
I know AJ is a huge Clemson fan, but what if I'm not?
That's right.
I'm a Dookie. I love Duke, but it's basketball, not football, because I think Clemson would trash Duke, right? Yeah. Not so good. Also think about some parks do have Wi-Fi, and Myrtle Beach State Park does have limited Wi-Fi. Again, we have a big campground. If everybody's streaming, if everybody's on, it's going to become even more limited. So again, this is your Wi-Fi. This is your connection to nature. There's no better connection than getting out in nature. So maybe, you know, maybe it's a challenge to yourself when you go camping to see how little you can, you know, put that phone down, put your tablet down. Try maybe, can you go a day without using Wi-Fi? That's a good challenge. Maybe you need Wi-Fi this weekend, so never mind. That's not a good idea. Okay, so a couple things with that. So we're going to talk a little bit again about music. A lot of people love music, but not everybody loves your music. So, you know, you might bring your speakers, but other campers don't want to hear it, even when it's not quiet hours. You do want to respect your neighbors. Did you hear that music? That was a Carolina Red. That's a great piece of music. But you can always use your headphones. Yeah, these are pretty old. So keep that in mind. A rule of thumb, if your music can be heard off at the campsite, is it too loud, AJ?
For sure.
It's too loud. So keep that in mind. And definitely quiet hours, no music whatsoever. Okay? Also, so that's noise pollution. I have this pet peeve. It's light pollution. A lot of people maybe don't feel quite safe at night or feel uncomfortable in darkness. I think it's a great thing to try to get comfortable with darkness and maybe have lower lights. The LED lights right now are so bright. And again, I'm just talking about some of my experiences camping. We were camping in a tent. It was last year, and campground, the camp lights from other campers, some of them were high up, some of them were low, but they were on all night long, and we literally tried to park our truck to block one side of the tent, and we were taking chairs and towels and trying to block our tent because we could almost read a book inside our tent from the surrounding lights from other campsites. Do you need to leave those lights on all night long? Just consider it. I know it's controversial. Just consider it. Just consider it. And also, if you have a lantern that's oil-based, fuel-based, you never want to hang it on a tree because you'll burn. Okay, so even if there is a nail already there, you know, this is a battery-operated light, but not a fuel light. You don't want to hurt the tree again, so keep that in mind. Okay, another way, with lights, whoops, with lights also, you could have, I don't know, do I have batteries? You can have a red light. You can still see, but it doesn't, you know, ruin your sight. And also when you're using a flashlight at night in the campground, because we're going to talk about using flashlights, but you know, do we want to shine the light in AJ's eye? No, you want to always on the ground. Always on the ground. I'm constantly being blinded by other campers when I'm walking in the campground. Lights on the ground. So watch your headlamps too. All right. So it depends again on the campground you're in. South Carolina State Parks, you're not allowed alcohol. So enough said about that, no alcohol. At Myrtle Beach State Park, anybody want to guess how many visitors we get at Myrtle Beach State Park? I'm going to just let you chime in and guess. But a lot of times we see on campsites and even in day use. Do we have any answers?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. A lot of times people will pick flowers. They'll pick leaves. And if everybody picked a flower or a leaf, would we have many left?
Definitely not.
And that's a bummer. And so keep that in mind. And then since we're a beach park, a lot of people love to go shelling and it's very fun. But you know, consider it. If you just get a whole bag of shells, did you have a purpose for these shells? Are they going to sit in your basement? Or did you have an idea for a craft that you know you're going to use it? So keep in mind, maybe you don't want to take all the shells. It can become beach. You know, it can become sand when they break down. It can become habitat for other animals. And again, because we have over 1 million visitors at our park. I think last year was what, 1.4?
Something like that.
Yeah, 1.4
yeah, one
million
guess
visitors.
of 400,000. So
yeah, I wish 400,000. That's in a month. That's almost July. It feels like that's July 4th.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
But you want to just, you know, maybe limit yourself to just taking a few shells that you love. You know, like, oh, this is our state shell, the lettered olive. So that's a find. And if you find that, what more do you want? Or, you know, this is a hard one to find, especially at Myrtle Beach State Park, because we have over 1 million visitors and then 10 million plus visitors just coming into Myrtle Beach. But this is a whelk. But you know, maybe if you see a couple big ones, take those. And never, ever, ever, this is a fake one, but this is representing live. And you never want to take home any live animals, whether from the beach or from the state parks. You know, all animals and plants are protected. So keep that in mind. So, you know, bring your fake flowers, enjoy the flowers. Or enjoy the flowers, you know, the blooming flowers. Nothing's blooming right here, but it's still really pretty and green. I love spring with all the greens. Okay, so that's, I'm hearing still lots of birds. It's great music,
It
right?
is.
It's the best music. If you have your music on, you can't hear nature. Okay, so how many people love going camping? And
swatting at the
there's
bugs.
mosquitoes. And you know, some parks are well known for insects. We're not. We usually, if we have a lot of biting mosquitoes, you know, we've had a lot of rain. We're a pretty dry park. We're pretty lucky here. But a couple things, you know, that you want to maybe help make your visit better. You know, citronella candles. There are citronella plants you can help try to, you know, get not have as many insects. Obviously, bug spray. Yep, there's insects flying around right now. But one thing to keep in mind, y'all, bug zappers. And so a lot of campers will bring bug zappers, whether it's this fun, you know, tennis, a good tennis swing, or, you know, just the hanging bug zappers. And unfortunately, there's two things that happen with these bug zappers. One, all I'm hearing if I'm your neighboring campsite is this, which is a murdering of an insect every single time. Dying insect. And you're still doing this because mosquitoes aren't attracted to that. Those biting insects, that's not what the bug zapper's getting. It's all the beneficial insects. So the bug zappers are really doing you no good. It's just killing beneficial insects. So you got to think of other ways, longer sleeve, you know, shirt, or just sometimes it's part of camping.
Yep.
Hat.
You have a caterpillar on your collar right now.
Oh, there's lots of caterpillars right now. A lot of these are tent caterpillars.
Whoops.
Or there's been a lot of moth caterpillars. They're
down
everywhere
on the
right now.
counter.
Literally, there's by the thousands. All right. So who doesn't love a campfire? And I bet you a lot of you want to do a campfire this weekend. But guess what? We can't.
That's right.
So, and anybody know why? Because the South Carolina Forestry Commission, there's a burn ban. And a burn ban can be a lot of different reasons. You know, we're in a drought. It could be low humidity or whatever. But for right now, because of the COVID-19 epidemic, because of the respiratory disease, nobody's allowed to burn trash, not allowed to do campfires, not allowed to even prescribe burning, which is helpful for wildlife. That's all banned in the month of April. So we're not allowed to have campfires, so you know, we're done with that. But we can still talk about campfires. You always want to be safe. So when you go to a campsite, if there's a fire ring, you must build the fire within the fire ring. Okay? Make sure, you know, if you bring a rake, you know, get rid of the debris around it so that you don't have, you know, a little brush fire or anything like that. And then when you build your fire, it is recommended in South Carolina state parks and other places that you buy firewood at the local park. And what's happening is, and in many states, it's illegal to move wood from within state, you know, out of state lines from one state to another. But what's going on is there's different invasive insects like the emerald ash borer, which is from Asia, and the larvae will get inside wood. You transport the larvae to another area that might be very far away from your house, and now the larvae will get into the live trees and kill them. And so while you might think, well, I want to save money, I don't want to buy the firewood at the park or whatever at the local store, these live trees are priceless. So we can't put a price on live trees. So this is about really protecting our forests, and so it's really helpful and a great conservation effort to buy the wood. So that's part of your camping budget if you want to have a campfire, if we're not in the middle of a burn ban. Okay? A couple other things that we notice as rangers here, and I mean, we all love campfires, right? But there's some don'ts to do with camping. You can see all this trash in here. You might think, well, it's really convenient. Let's just burn my trash. I don't have to take it out to the campfire or to the dumpster. Well, you know, plastic, that's going to be a great smell, and it's going to create a lot of toxic chemicals. And also, you know, this plastic here might not burn all the way, but start rising up in the air, and then if there's wind, it goes into your neighbor's campsite. Not a good neighbor. You know, this can
doesn't go away.
It's not going to go away. And so what are you going to have to do tomorrow, AJ, when I'm gone?
Clean up that campsite.
You have to clean up the campsite. And that's not cool. So just don't burn any trash. And this is, we have to laugh at this, but it's not a laughing matter. All the time, y'all, all the time, we see people dragging wood from other spots and putting this in the campfire and burning it. What do you think's wrong with that?
It's way too big.
It's way too big, and it's not safe. And it probably won't even burn throughout the night. So keep that in mind. And then we've also seen this, where, well, I'll put that on. One, again, too big. But also it's still green. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna have so much smoke from that campfire. And if it's windy again, one, you're not gonna enjoy it. Your neighbor's not gonna enjoy it. So keep that in mind. So make sure you have dry wood, dry kindling. You can, you know, buy fire starter and things in stores and things. So sometimes you have to plan ahead. And also, if you know you're camping, and the other good thing with buying the wood is you know it's dry. There's nothing worse than bringing wet wood and it doesn't burn. And you're going to cook your hot dogs, and now what do you do?
No s'mores.
No s'mores, and that's just sad. And so if you want to have s'mores this weekend, you do have a grill. You can still do grills. So keep that in mind. Did I miss anything with the campfire?
Water bucket.
Oh, water bucket. That's right. So, that's like the most important thing. All the time, we see campfires that are still burning unattended. People have left the campsite. They've actually left. They've just gone to the beach. They've gone to the bathroom. they're still burning bright after they've all gone to bed. And you must take care of your fires. We want to make sure we don't start any fires. So always have a bucket of water and put it out thoroughly. Sometimes one bucket of water won't do. So you got, if you have time to make a fire, you have time to put it out.
That's right.
Okay? All right. So now that you had your s'mores, you had your hot dogs, you had, I don't know, your vegan burger, whatever you want, it's time to wash dishes. And so a couple different things it can be challenging washing dishes while camping. We don't want you going to the bathrooms. I don't want to see your spaghetti noodles in the bathroom sinks when I'm brushing my teeth. Kind of gross, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you are going, people do that? And I'm here to tell you, yes. I wouldn't be talking about any of this if it didn't happen, I'd say constantly,
yes.
Right? When you have 300 campsites, a lot of people do awesome things, and they're awesome campers, but we do have a lot of behaviors that we really want people to do better on. And so what you're going to do, if you want to wash your dishes, you're camping, I don't know, do you need to wash your just kidding. Always be safe. Biodegradable soap. All soap is not biodegradable, okay? And then what you're going to do, and we're going to talk about wildlife here in a bit, but you want to make sure that you're not going to attract wildlife into your campsite, because while it might be cute, it's not safe. So if you have, on your plate, you have a lot of food scraps, you want to have, take your fork or whatever with your garbage bag, and you want to scrape it in. I don't have the tools for this. I'm not really ready for this. But scrape as much food scraps into your bag as possible. And then just put a little bit of soap. A little bit of soap will go a long way. Wash it. And then with your water, rinse it out. But also when you're rinsing it out, you want to rinse it out, again, over the colander to gather any other food scraps. Okay? And then, you need to walk away from the campsite if you can to scatter your water. Don't just dump, scatter the water. You need to wash your dishes, okay? And please don't wash in the sinks in the bathrooms. No spaghetti, no. No whatever. We don't want to see your chicken. Bet you it was good though. Okay? All right. One of the reasons we love to go camping is why?
Wildlife.
Wildlife. And this park, Myrtle Beach State Park, we're 312 acres. We're an urban park again. 312 acres, 1.5 million visitors. It's crazy insane here. But we have a lot of great wildlife. And we have these cute squirrels. And the squirrels are pretty used to people with 1 million people, right? And so, you can see these hickory nuts, these pig nut hickory nuts. These squirrels have, sharp teeth that grow 6 inches in a year. Constantly growing, which is amazing, right? So they constantly are having to chew things, hence why they chew our houses, chew our wood, chew. But look, they can chew this nut in half. So you don't want to go up and feed the squirrel, no matter how cute he looks, and he looks like he's begging, and he looks friendly, and wouldn't that be a great photo? Cheese, it's not good. All mammals can carry rabies, and you just don't want to chance it, okay? So while you're feeding, and a lot of times people when you're camping, you don't mean to feed. You're not doing it intentionally. It's the unintentional feeding that happens. So we have raccoons, which are my favorite animal. I think raccoons are the cutest animals on the planet. But man, they are devious, they are smart, and they will figure it out. They will also teach their young, without a doubt. I don't care what anybody says. So a couple things to keep in mind. Every campground, again, is different. And depending on where you go, even within South Carolina to, Yosemite or Yellowstone, is you do need to read and find the rules of how do I store my food at night. At Myrtle Beach State Park, so I'm only going to speak Myrtle Beach State Park, so keep that in mind, y'all. You can store the food in your car, in your hardback camper. You're not allowed to do that in Yellowstone. There's special, food boxes, storage bins is where you put all your food, because a bear will break into your car. But raccoons, they will get into your cooler. They will unzip your cooler. They'll take off the bungee cord. They'll bring it up. They will dry. I've seen raccoons dry. They'll store the tent or the cooler underneath the picnic table, push it out, open it up, and then they eat your steak.
They'll unzip your tent too.
They will unzip your tent. If they don't feel like unzipping your tent, well, why can't they just
stick their hand in?
Stare through. So also, the bathroom is literally across the road from here. I can get to the bathroom in 30 seconds. So I'm just going to leave my food out because I'm just going to go to the bathroom really fast. they'll come and get it. I mean, I swear they're waiting. I swear they're waiting. And so, and some parks are notorious where the animals have gotten so habituated to humans and food that it's begging to a fine art. And that's what we want to stop, because it's not safe. One, you know, I don't know what this represents, but kid food. It's not healthy for the raccoon. It makes him want to come closer to people, and then she's gonna, you know, teach her young to do it, and it just habituates a lot of different bad behavior that we cannot change. And you might be the perfect camper and leave absolutely no food out, but the campers before you didn't, and so you're still gonna have a problem. And so we all need to do our part. We have a couple really fun visuals. So this is a raccoon. I mean, look at, there's almost no room to get underneath that wooden lid to get into the trash can. And this is my favorite one. So, you know, you think your food will be safe in that cooler? Challenge accepted. And you'll probably lose that challenge. So keep that in mind.
They can open mini refrigerators as well. That's what one person just said in a comment.
That's happened at our park too. And I think they have taken steaks out of the mini fridge. And while it's not good for the raccoon, now you have no meal, and that wasn't $1. And right now, those steaks, you may not be able to replace the steaks in the store. There may be no steaks. There might have been a run on the hamburger. So keep that all in mind. The other thing, and AJ mentioned tents. If you store even smelly soap, shampoos, toothpaste, anything smelly in a tent that is not food related, the raccoon doesn't know the difference and still might come into the tent. So keep all that in mind. The other thing, and we see people do this all the time, they're doing a great job. They, you know, right now they're fixing breakfast. They put their trash in their trash bag, and now they're getting ready to go to the beach. They leave their trash in the trash bag because, well, it's in the bag.
Right.
It's not strewn all over the campsite. It's in the bag. It's in the bag. Well, the raccoon, or heck, I've seen squirrels. Squirrels will come up and they'll start ripping open the bag, and now the trash is everywhere. And then what we have, I'm going to come over here real quick, AJ. We literally, 1 minute before we started this segment, we just went back here, and in 1 minute, one person got all this trash. And I almost guarantee you, not one camper went. What happened is it was just food items, things left behind while they're still camping, and an animal comes up to it and takes it away. Okay? Or also, a lot of this could have come from, you take your trash to the dumpster or to the garbage can, but you don't put the lid on, and they'll get, as we saw in that one photo, they'll get into the garbage can or get into the dumpster. And there's nothing worse than going to throw out your trash and there's a snarling raccoon stuck. He's stuck. Or maybe he's not snarling because he's very happy. He has tons of food. But we then have to, you know, we got to put wood, you know, a 2x4 in there, and the raccoon has to climb out on his own. And if it's a possum, it could take days. The poor things they're not very smart. So again, watch your trash, because we're constantly picking up trash out of the outside the campsite. Oh, look out, sorry.
It's a picnic table there.
There's a picnic table. One last thing that we want to talk about, I think I got everything, but with wildlife, is, you know, we have our dog. And so I just have my food out, and my dog, like, I have a dog that you're going to meet here. Rasso never, if one thing Rasso is very good at, he cleans his food. But if your dog doesn't eat all his food, well, why can't this cute fox come in and eat it? And then they get used to it. And so even at home, forget camping, at your house, for foxes and coyotes and wildlife, you cannot leave pet food out at night. You are going to attract wildlife, and they are going to change their behaviors, and they're going to expect it. You know, who doesn't want a free, easy meal? I'm all for it. If you drop off a pizza right now, I'm the happiest girl alive. I don't want to have to go make my pizza. Okay? Do we get everything on wildlife?
I think so.
It's just all about keeping them out, and also, you don't want them getting close. I know it's like cute photos, but it's not safe.
Right.
Okay? Let's talk snakes.
We're here. If you we have an airplane going over right now, so we're gonna pause.
People do say, couldn't you move the airport? And obviously the answer is no. And I don't know that you get used to it. It's just part of our daily life.
Exactly.
Yep. So snakes. So anywhere you camp in the southeast, there's a chance you might encounter a snake. I will say this. On our website, we have signs on all of our kiosks. We have waysides, educational panels talking about snakes. And sometimes it freaks people out and they think we're trying to scare them away. And that is the least thing I want to do. I don't want to scare you away from coming to the parks or camping or walking in the woods. I just want you to be informed. And so a couple different things, especially a lot of people are going to come camping in the summer, or I mean as soon as the park's open, it's going to be warm and snakes are going to be moving around. And so when you're walking in the woods or even the campground, especially at night, you want to have shoes on. And obviously you're thinking, well, Ranger Ann, we're at the beach. I didn't even bring shoes. I brought flip-flops, or I bought nothing. And so if you don't have closed-toed shoes, you definitely want to have a flashlight on the ground at all times to make sure you know where you're putting your feet, because copperheads. And there are other venomous snakes in South Carolina. As far as we know, we only have official records of just copperheads on our park. But copperheads, look at this amazing camouflage, and they have this nice hourglass shape. And they blend in really well with the environment. And so it's very easy to step on them because, and at least from our experience in our park, they really, since they blend in so well, they're not gonna move. They're just gonna wait for you to go away. And probably, again, 1 million plus 5 million visitors, the vast majority, AJ, I mean.
Very rarely see a snake.
They very rarely see a snake. It's such a low percentage.
Yep.
So again, it's not like you're gonna, don't expect to see a snake when you come to Myrtle Beach State Park, but we want you to be aware. But also, we've had a couple people been bit, and when the ranger comes up to them, they go, you know, I read that sign about shoes or a flashlight on the ground. So we just want you to be aware. Because also, are you allowed to kill snakes?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Snakes are here. They're part of our environment. It makes a healthy environment. So if you do have a snake on your campsite, you know, just call a ranger and we'll relocate it. But we're never going to kill a snake. One thing that campers do, some people think putting up a rope around your campsite will keep a snake out. No. And then also, rumors are out there that you could put mothballs out there, and while they're smelly and maybe it might repel a snake for a little bit, period of time, eventually the mothball's scent's going to go away. In a park campground that's litter, it smells, it's just not going to do you any good. You just need to be aware and be alert, okay? So keep that in mind. Ugh, the smell of mothballs is just
yeah,
so
I just
gross.
don't like it either.
It's so gross. All right, so let's see if we have a visitor. Do we have a visitor? Oh, we have a dog off a leash. What's going on? Do we have a dog off a leash? Oh, hello, Rasso. Come here,
Rasso.
So we have a dog off a leash. And so, can I have the leash? So this is our dog, Rasso. This is my fiance, Scott. There we go, thank you. So Rasso, he's 15 years old. And you know, if we've actually haven't taken him camping because honestly, Rasso doesn't want to go camping. Rasso just likes sleeping on his couch and eating. That's what Rasso likes to do. And so, you know, when you come to the park, you want to make sure when you go camping, you want to take your dog, there's a couple questions you have to honestly answer. One, does your dog want to go with you? Is he happier with you or back at home and somebody taking care of him? Because, you know, if we're at the beach, what do we want to do?
Go to the beach.
Go to the beach. And AJ, when you go to the beach in May, June, July, and August at Myrtle Beach State Park in Horry County, is your dog allowed on the beach from 10 to 5? 10 to 5.
They are not.
They're not. So if I go to the beach from 10 to 5, where's Rasso?
He has to stay on the campsite.
He's staying on the campsite. Rasso might be happy doing that, but every time a dog walks by, what's he going to do?
Bark.
bark, or maybe a person walks by.
Lots of barking.
Lots of barking. Constantly barking. And Rasso has a very loud bark. And so are your neighbors going to be happy with you?
Oh, no.
No. So, and it creates a little bit of a conflict and an awkward situation for the rangers. Because now we have a barking dog constantly on the campsite, but nobody's here. And the neighbors aren't happy. And what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, and we don't really want to approach that dog either.
Right.
Okay. The other thing, so Rasso was off a leash, and he's 15. He's probably not going to go off the campsite. But what if he gets spooked? It's not his territory. It's not his home. What if a squirrel spooks him? What if an animal spooks him? What if I don't know, he heard the airplane, it spooked him, and he runs off. So you always want to make sure he's leashed. And then of course you always want to make sure you have lots of poop bags. And don't you hate it when your dog usually poops once and then he poops that second time and you're not prepared? We've all been there, right? And so you always want to make sure you have extra poop bags. When you're walking around the campground, because I tell you what, it's so much fun to see all the different dogs in the campground. That is a great thing. But you want to have a couple of things of etiquette. Not everybody loves your dog. Not everybody loves Rasso. I know Barkley one day didn't love Rasso because Rasso peed on our retail manager, Barkley. This is when he was younger. He's probably, what, 7 years younger. It was pretty embarrassing. He was on a leash, but we weren't paying attention. And he peed on Barkley. He did write her an apology, though. Thank you, Rasso. He wrote an apology. But also, some people are allergic. Some people are scared of dogs. You know, I was bit by a dog. So I get leery when a dog is running up to me. And so you want to respect other animals. And then also, you know, these are great leashes, right? But they go beyond 6 feet. And just because your dog is on a leash doesn't mean you don't have to be paying attention. Paying attention. Oh, look, he's gonna, who knows what he's gonna do. I don't know what he's gonna do. Anyway, so keep that in mind. So watch the barking. Anything else? Picking up poop. Also, don't poop in other people's campsite.
Right.
Don't let them pee in other people's campsite. Oh, here's one thing I forgot. So I want to talk to my neighbor 3 campsites down. How do I get to that campsite? Actually, I want to talk to the campsite over there, but I have to go through that campsite to that campsite. Oops, sorry, AJ.
It's all good.
See, not paying attention.
I'll step over.
Hey, buddy, come here. Come on, buddy. Because you have to do one more thing.
Rasso.
But also, make sure you don't go through other people's campsites.
That's right.
It's like going through other people's yard. You know, it's not very nice. And you know, you're like, but the bathroom's right there. Well, go around. All right, so do we need to talk about anything else with dogs?
I don't think so. I
All
think
right,
you
let's
got
see
it.
if you'll perform for Facebook. Everybody ready for some tricks?
Yeah.
It's gonna have oh, Scott, can you? Let me see. He doesn't do it very well on leash. Okay, hey buddy. All right, Rasso. Okay, you ready? All right, sit, shake, shake, circle, circle, circle. Up, sit down, lay. Look at that!
Good boy, Rasso. Good boy.
So good, yeah. Yeah, eating and now he's ready for a nap.
Yep.
All right, good boy. Good job. All right, have we done everything besides? Oh, litter.
Yep.
So a couple other things before you leave your campsite. It's the little stuff that really add up. And a lot of times, you know, whether it's cigarettes, bottle caps, you just take it off. Straws. All this little stuff that either people are trying to burn or they're not really meaning to drop, but it just drops and you're like, oh, it's little, who cares? This is what really adds up and makes a difference. And so please do your part before you leave the campsite. Do a sweep around and try to pick up the little stuff. In fact, try to leave the campsite better than when you found it. It really will help everybody out. No matter if it's a private campground, a state park, national campground, it really will make a difference.
For sure.
Because also, wildlife can eat this too.
Yeah.
So that's no good. Okay. Oh, one last thing. This is not camping etiquette, but hey, this is something everybody needs to know. And it's hard to believe because Myrtle Beach State Park, we have a lot of poison ivy here, but not on this campsite, which is funny. But, so poison ivy has leaves of 3, and they have very hairy vines that some vines can be as big as my arm. Yeah. And obviously, if anybody's ever had poison ivy before, and I'm actually getting over a tiny bit of poison ivy. You know, it just makes you itch and it's no fun. So you want to keep away from poison ivy, but also keep in mind this campsite is surrounded by what a lot of people think is poison ivy. But notice how it has 5 leaflets? So this is Virginia creeper. Can totally touch it, it won't hurt you. It is a vine, it can overtake. A lot of people, you know, get worried that they have poison ivy on their campsite when it's really Virginia creeper. But trust me, we do have poison ivy here. And just, this is another reason to not get out of your campsite. Stay within the campsite. All right, anything else?
Don't think so.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
So hopefully you got some good tips today that make you have more fun camping, make you more aware, make you be a better neighbor with camping. Because the great thing with camping, if you make a friend with a fellow camper, I mean, maybe that camper is from Nevada. And then maybe you can go visit them in Nevada someday. I mean, how cool is that just because you were camping next to them for a couple days? Campers really do make lifelong friends, and that's pretty cool. Couple things about the rest of the night and tomorrow. So we have, I think, so we got 6, 7, 8, and 9 o'clock hour. At 7 o'clock, it's about bird migration, so tune in at 7 o'clock. And then the rest of the night at 7, 8, and 9, no, 6 o'clock is bird migration, sorry. 6 o'clock, bird migration. And then 7, 8, and 9 o'clock, I think, are stories. So that'll be pretty good from a lot of the national parks. And then we start off again, not too bright and early, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And we'll be back at Myrtle Beach State Park. And we're going to do a craft. So a couple things, if you could get your supplies ready, and you don't have to make this harder than it is. If you have any type of fabric, look, this is just an old sheet I ripped up. You could do a lighter colored t-shirt, a rag, a sheet, a pillowcase. You know, it doesn't need to be, you don't have to have this nice, you know,
square
that we sewed, okay? A rock or a hammer, heck, a piece of wood. Okay?
Something hard.
And masking tape. It could be Scotch tape, it could be duct tape. Masking tape works best. If you have no tape, we could take 2 pieces of fabric, put them together, because what we are going to do, you are going to want to take some leaves. So this is where we are going to, you know, go get some leaves. So, you know, the Virginia creeper would be a good leaf. Don't get poison ivy. Like a magnolia leaf would not work well. You want more deciduous. You wanted a brand new leaf that's coming in, because what we're going to do, we're going to do leaf art tomorrow. And we're going to pound out the chlorophyll and just make really cool leaf designs. That you can do this in your, whether you're inside or out. But I will warn you, parents, it's loud. So keep that in mind. And then we have a lot of other stuff on Saturday. Gosh, there's nature journaling. You're going to learn to make doughboys, of which I don't know what that is. Wild edibles, you know, a lot of cool stuff tomorrow. So everything tomorrow will be from 10 to 9, every hour on the hour. And do we have any other questions?
No.
Well then, you know what?
Lots of thank yous. So
I'm just going to enjoy my connection to Wi-Fi, my better connection, my big screen TV. Hope y'all have a great night and keep coming up with those creative tents. We're gone, Ranger, Ann, and AJ at Myrtle Beach State Park.
Have a good evening.